You think you're busy because you're working hard. That's the story your life tells you to protect you from a harsher truth. You're probably just feeding a system that turns effort into exhaustion and exhaustion into more effort. Most people don't lack talent, they lack leverage, and the absence of leverage is not a small disadvantage. It is a trap with very polite lighting. It looks like productivity, it feels like grinding, but underneath, it's the same loop. You trade finite energy for linear money, and you call that fate. Welcome to the Hidden Self, where we talk about the parts of your psychology you keep trying to keep off the table. In this video, I'm going to explain the nature of leverage in a way that will irritate you at first, then free you. Because once you understand leverage, you stop asking, how do I earn more from my hours? You start asking, how do I build something that multiplies results without consuming me in a one-to-one exchange? And yes, this will touch money mindset, identity, relationships, and the quiet self-deception that makes hard work feel noble while it quietly keeps you poor. Let's begin with the most uncomfortable piece. You were not designed to be paid in proportion to your effort. You were designed to survive. Survival is work plus recovery. Survival is time, energy, and limits. You have 24 hours. Your body demands restoration. Your mind has a saturation point. Every attempt to push past that point creates a bill later, and the bill isn't always monetary. Sometimes it's your health. Sometimes it's your youth. Sometimes it's your nervous system becoming permanently wired to stress. Here is the hidden mechanism most people refuse to face. When your income model is built on direct labor, you will always experience scarcity, even if you are doing everything right. Why? Because you are locked into a cycle of depletion and replenishment never feels like progress. You restore energy, then you spend it again. That's not growth, that's maintenance. Most working lives are basically a treadmill disguised as achievement. People wake up, produce output, earn wages, pay bills, repeat. They might increase their output by becoming more efficient or working more aggressively, but the value remains linear. You do 10% more work and you get roughly 10% more money. That's it. The ceiling is your physical capacity plus the market's willingness to pay for your category of labor. And then comes the psychological part, the part that makes this trap feel like a personality. Many people start believing their lack of leverage is their personal failure. They start saying things like, I'm just not good enough, or I didn't hustle hard enough, or I chose the wrong industry. They look inward and blame themselves because it's psychologically safer than admitting the system of their effort is mathematically limited. Let me make it concrete. Picture a person who works 8 hours a day. They decide 1 hour is worth $100. They do 8 hours, they make 800. Simple, clean, fair. For a while, they feel relief. At least it makes sense. But that math quietly ignores the real issue. Their time is not scalable. Their labor is not a renewable asset. Their recovery is not a business expense they can optimize forever. Now imagine a different model. That person builds a course, licenses a framework, creates a product, records a system that delivers value even when they're asleep. Their initial investment of time becomes a seed. And seeds don't only grow when you're standing over the garden. Seeds grow because the structure allows growth to continue. This is where leverage starts to matter, because leverage is not a motivational concept, it's a physics concept. Leverage is where a small input produces a large result due to a structural advantage, like changing the point of support. In life and economics, the point of support isn't your effort, it's where you attach your effort. Poor thinking attaches effort to reward. Rich thinking attaches effort to a system that converts effort into amplified output. And now, the real split in human psychology appears. Not a split in intelligence, a split in how people interpret reality. Some people live in a world where money is earned. They ask, what do I need to do to get paid? They treat income like a bill they must satisfy with labor. Other people live in a world where money is attracted. They ask, what can I build that causes value to flow toward me? They treat income like a result of structure, not like a wage for endurance. This difference sounds subtle. It isn't. It changes everything about how you behave, what you fear, what you chase, and what you refuse to build. If you've never studied leverage, it will feel like you're being told to work less. That is the first lie you'll want to cling to. Don't. Leverage doesn't mean laziness. It means you stop being the bottleneck. Leverage is the art of putting one unit of effort into a machine that produces multiple units of outcome. It's not a magic spell. It's a disciplined way of organizing thought, knowledge, processes, distribution, and trust so that your contribution is embedded, not repeated. Now I'm going to pull you deeper. Because the way most people misunderstand leverage is by treating it like a hack. Like you can just buy some tools or copy some influencer strategy and suddenly your life multiplies. That's not leverage. That's cosplay. Real leverage requires a change in your identity. Before we talk about the 5 types, I need you to notice something about yourself. Think about your last major attempt to improve your income. Did you try to sell more labor hours, or did you try to build something that still works without you? Most people do the first. Not because they are stupid, because they are scared. Building leverage requires you to tolerate a different kind of uncertainty. When you sell labor, you can measure progress hourly. When you build leverage, you measure progress by iteration, systems, and patience. It's slower at first. It doesn't pay immediately, and humans, especially anxious humans, hate that kind of delay. So they stay in the familiar loop, Do work, earn wages, reduce uncertainty through immediate compensation. It's comforting. It's also a cage. Now let's talk about the 5 major types of leverage that rich people repeatedly use, not because they are better people, because they understand the point of support. The first is knowledge leverage. Knowledge is an asset that does not automatically degrade like your body does, but if you keep knowledge trapped in your skull, it doesn't scale. Your mind can only teach, advise, or deliver personally to a limited number of people at a time. Your brain is not a production factory unless you package what it produces. So rich people operationalize knowledge. They turn expertise into products, systems, processes, courses, software, licensing, and repeatable methods. Imagine a financial expert. They can meet clients one by one. That yields income based on time. Their output is capped. But if they record a strategy, write a playbook, create a subscription model, build a framework that clients can use without constant direct guidance, the same expertise becomes an engine. The value isn't trapped inside their working hours. It becomes a reusable pathway for other people to benefit. And this is why knowledge leverage can feel unfair, because it offers income without constant presence. It makes the compensation appear detached from your immediate effort. But that's not unfairness. That's structure doing its job. Here's a micro story. A friend of mine once said, "I could never sell courses. I'm not good at explaining. I just know what to do." That sentence sounds humble. It's not. It's a fear confession disguised as ethics. Because if you admit you could package what you know, you would also have to admit you are choosing to stay dependent on your personal output. You are choosing the time for money model because it gives you emotional safety. Knowledge leverage punishes that choice. Not because it's moral, because physics is indifferent. If you keep your value locked to your body, the market will cap you to your body. The second is technology leverage. Technology is speed leverage. It multiplies output by reducing friction. It eliminates repetitive tasks. It extends your reach without extending your hours. Most people treat technology like a cost. They think of it as expenses, subscriptions, tools, training, learning curves. That mindset creates resistance, because if you view technology as a bill, you will never move fast enough to capture what it can change. Rich people view technology as a lever, which means they ask a different question. What can I automate, streamline, or amplify? What can I integrate so my operation runs while I sleep? One person can work 8 hours and accomplish a limited number of outcomes, but a system can run 24 hours. It can route leads. It can draft initial responses. It can schedule. It can enforce quality checks. It can standardize delivery. It can reduce mistakes. It can do tasks your attention is too valuable to waste on. In 2026, AI is no longer a novelty. People who know how to use it responsibly can create faster drafts, better research summaries, clearer product descriptions, and more effective strategies. Not because they are geniuses, but because the system removes delay and repetition. Notice what this changes psychologically. When technology handles routine tasks, your identity shifts from worker to builder. You stop thinking like someone earning by the hour. You start thinking like someone managing a process. The third type is brand leverage. Brand sounds like an image. It isn't. Brand is trust. Brand is a condensed signal that says these people can deliver, and the risk of dealing with them is lower. When trust is built, you can charge more and convert faster. People pay more not just for quality, but for certainty. They pay for the reduction of anxiety. They pay because they believe you won't waste their time. A weak brand forces you to sell. A strong brand attracts. That difference is huge. Selling consumes energy. Attraction feeds systems. And brand isn't only for big companies. Even individuals can build brand through consistency, clarity, and proof. When your name carries credibility, opportunities arrive with less resistance. People don't just buy your output, they buy the expectation that you will deliver the outcome they want. Here's the hidden truth. Many people avoid brand because brand requires self-exposure and vulnerability. You must be visible enough to be judged. You must accept that your work will be interpreted. That scares people. So they stay in anonymity and chase income through labor. Labor hides you. Brand reveals you. The fourth is network leverage. Nobody becomes rich by doing everything alone. Relationships are not just emotional support. They are distribution channels, learning engines, and opportunity accelerators. A strategic relationship can shorten years of individual struggle. It can open doors to a market you don't know exists. It can connect you to a mentor who saves you from expensive errors. It can create collaborations where each person's strengths cover the other's weaknesses. But here's where people lie to themselves. Many people say they want community, but what they actually want is comfort. They want friends, not collaborators. They want belonging, not leverage. They want to feel good, not to grow. Network leverage is not socializing for fun. It is building a web where value and trust circulate. It's being useful. It's being reliable. It's being someone others can bet on. Also, it requires the ability to ask for help without shame. Poor thinking treats help like humiliation. Rich thinking treats help like coordination. Let's talk about the fifth type, capital leverage. Capital is not just money. It's the ability to scale without matching effort one-to-one with output. Capital leverage allows you to create value for more people faster than your personal labor could ever reach. Most people fear this because capital feels risky, and that fear is not entirely irrational. Mismanaged debt and reckless investing can destroy lives, but the hidden psychological difference is this. Poor thinking fears losing more. Rich thinking fears missing opportunities more. They understand that taking calculated risks can build momentum. They use other people's capital, other people's funding, and structured partnerships to expand value production. When capital is used wisely, it becomes the fuel for systems. It doesn't replace leverage. It amplifies leverage already built. Capital becomes the gasoline for the machine. Now I want you to see the unifying principle across all 5 types. They all serve the same transformation, from earning through labor to creating through structure. Poor model is I work to get paid. Rich model is I build leverage. So the system produces value repeatedly, and at a deeper level, it changes the nature of your identity. One identity says, my worth is my time. The other says, my worth is my contribution to a mechanism that can keep delivering. This is also why rich people often appear calmer. Not because they don't feel stress, because their financial future is less dependent on daily physical output. Their leverage creates a buffer. Now let's go even darker, because leverage has a cost that people hide from themselves. Leverage can amplify what you already have. It can magnify your strengths, and it can magnify your corruption. It can magnify your deceit. It can magnify your impulsiveness. And if you build a leverage system on dishonesty, you're not building freedom, you're building a bigger collapse. That's why real leverage requires transparency and discipline, not just cleverness. Transparency is the ethical foundation. It's what prevents systems from turning into traps. When value is multiplied, consequences are multiplied too. If your business is built on inflated promises or manipulated emotions, initial sales might come fast, but trust will fracture. And when trust fractures, leverage dies quickly. Discipline is the operational foundation. Even good ideas fail without consistent execution. Systems require rhythm. They require standards. They require a stable process, so improvements accumulate into real advantage. Micro improvements are the engine of long-term wealth. Not heroic weeks, not motivational bursts. Small upgrades over time, tight loops, quality control, feedback cycles, repeatable delivery. If you improve 1% per day, after a year you don't simply get a little better. You've fundamentally transformed capacity, and most people can't handle the boredom of discipline, so they abandon the process and chase novelty. Novelty feels alive, discipline feels like nothing, yet discipline is what turns leverage from a possibility into a machine. Now here's the harsh psychological reality. Many people don't fail because they lack strategy. They fail because they can't tolerate the emotional discomfort of consistency. They don't want to be the person who does boring work until it works. They want the drama of quick results. So they build leverage fantasies. They copy frameworks. They start projects and quit when momentum doesn't pay instantly. That's not laziness, it's avoidance. They avoid the identity that would require them to become reliable. And this brings us to the highest layer of leverage, the one most people ignore because it's intangible. Attention. Attention is not just focus, it's energy allocation. It determines what you feed emotionally and mentally, which then determines what becomes real in your life. When you constantly compare yourself, worry about outcomes, and obsess over what other people are doing, you're investing your mental capital in fear. Fear does not produce leverage. Fear produces more of the same loop. Fear narrows your mind. It hijacks decision-making. It turns your attention into a leakage system. Rich people invest attention differently. They consolidate it. They place it on learning, on building, on refining systems, on delivering real value. They stop dispersing energy into noise. The hidden self here is brutal. Some people don't want leverage because leverage would require them to discipline their inner world. Leverage would require them to stop consuming anxiety and start directing energy. That means facing themselves without distractions. So instead of mastering attention, they keep feeding the brain with comparison content, conflict, outrage, and meaningless